Seek Out the Arts is back, and I have a long, juicy episode for you today. I have a musical theater review, I have some new books to share, and a special Van Gogh theme for today's video. Hello everyone, Jennifer here, and welcome back to the Daily Connoisseur. Okay, I did some traveling this summer. I was in England and it was a busy end of the school year. So we haven't done Seek Out the Arts for a few months, but I'm going to make it up to you today because I have a very special episode extravaganza is the only way I can describe it. So this series is all about encouraging you to seek out the arts in your area, whether that be to patronize your local art galleries and theater productions, or even just bringing it home to yourself by looking at books and just enriching your life through art, music, poetry, and all the things that make your soul sing. So that's what we're doing in this episode. I would like to thank the Chic Society for bringing us this episode. Make sure you stay tuned until the end because I have all of their wonderful mentions coming up for you. So thank you so much to the Chic Society for bringing us this. All right, let's start off with a musical theater review. I had the pleasure of attending the premiere of And Juliet at the Amundsen Theater in downtown Los Angeles. I went into this knowing nothing about it. I didn't do any research. All I knew was that this production reimagines the ending of Romeo and Juliet. It is set to the music of Max Martin. So all of the popular pop songs from the 2000s, like Since You've Been Gone, Baby One More Time, Roar, Larger Than Life. The musical was actually set to these songs. It was so clever how they wove these popular songs into this storyline. So it really sees William Shakespeare and his wife Anne Hathaway having a dialogue, and she gets a say for once. She doesn't like the tragic ending of Romeo and Juliet, so she reimagines it. And it's really about discovering what you truly want, like truly want, and happiness inside. And so anyway, it was just such a fun time. I went with my sister. I did the red carpet. I had a really awkward experience on the red carpet because I didn't know the lyrics to these popular songs. Because, you know, I'm always listening to classical music, so I probably should be more au courant with popular music. But anyway, apart from that, I had a wonderful time. I made so many new friends, and it was just a great show. I loved it. All right, so next I had some very Seek Out the Art themed books that I wanted to share with you. I have a wonderful contact at Rizzoli, and Rizzoli publish such beautiful books. I know that you've probably already heard of them. And they sent me a little care package, and I love it. So the first book that they sent, and we can explore these more maybe in the next Seek Out the Arts when I have more time to dive into them. The first book they sent is The Poetry of Flowers. This is edited by Samuel Carr, and I have a nice little note in here from Rizzoli. This is the most incredible volume because it's all flower poetry from, you know, the world's most famous poets, and it has flower illustrations to go along with it. It's a beautiful book. If you love poetry, if you love flowers, this make an excellent gift as well. So that's the first one I wanted to share with you. The second one is something that I didn't even know existed. It is Nature Notes of an Edwardian Lady. This is not the same as the Country Diary of the Edwardian Lady. Yes, it is still Edith Holden, but this is new material. These are her nature notes from 1905, and the Country Diary of the Edwardian Lady is from 1906. So this is all new material, and I can't wait to dive in. So this is like her nature journal, her commonplace book with her drawings, illustrations, poems. It is incredible. Like, for example, I just opened to page 30 and there is a Shakespeare quote that says, "Daffodils that come before the swallow dares, and take the winds of March with beauty." So that's one to keep on your list. And then the final book they sent that would be of interest to you is The Bedside Companion for Book Lovers, an anthology of literary delights for every night of the year. This is edited by Jane McMorland Hunter. So this is like a bedside companion. You could keep it by your bed. It's like a devotional. So every page has a date. So let's see, the day that I'm filming this is August 16th. So if I were to turn to August 16th, there is an excerpt from George Orwell from Bookshop Memories 1936, and it's titled The Unpopularity of Short Stories. So it's like a literary anthology slash, it's not a devotional, but you know, it's one of those daily pages where you can read. And I love this idea. So even if you're one of those people that doesn't have time to read, something like this would be really good, where you could just read a little bit every day and feel like you're getting something in. Okay, let's move on to the Van Gogh themed portion of the video. We have studied Van Gogh before on the channel, but we have never looked at Starry Night, I don't believe. I have some interesting facts about Starry Night. Now, before we get to that, I have the musical selection for you, and it would be wonderful if you listen to it this month. We're still in August, it's not quite fall yet, so I think these sunflowers not only touch on the theme of Van Gogh, because some of his most famous paintings included sunflowers, but here I have Hauser, he's one of my favorite cellists, and he's playing the Pathétique Sonata by Beethoven in a field of sunflowers, and I thought that it really met with the Van Gogh theme. So I will leave this video linked down below. It's so funny because this popped up on my recommended. It's 1 year old, and I listened to it because I'm actually learning Pathétique Sonata on the piano right now, and that's why it popped up, because I've been researching it. And I went to go leave a comment, and I had already left a comment a year ago. So I'd already seen this. Anyway, I have to recommend this to you. It's just so brilliant. And Beethoven's Pathétique Sonata is one of my favorite melodies. It is so beautiful and calming. So maybe if I practice enough, I will share my rendition with you. So let's move on to Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. Now, I pronounce his name the way that Americans pronounce it, which is Van Gogh. But I know that another way to pronounce it is Van Gogh or Van Gogh. I can't do it, so I'm just gonna say Van Gogh, okay? My apologies. Okay, so I looked up 10 interesting facts about Starry Night. This is one of the most famous paintings in the entire world. I'm sure every single one of you have seen it. So hopefully these facts are interesting to you and you might learn something new about Starry Night. Interesting fact number 1 about Starry Night is this was painted when Van Gogh was in the mental asylum, and this was painted from his window. Okay, so he created the Starry Night in June of 1889. He was staying at the St. Paul de Mazolle Asylum in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence in France. And he painted this scene from memory, and it was inspired by the view from his barred window. Interesting fact number 2, this is so cool. Okay, so this isn't something new that I learned, but the swirling sky may reflect turbulence physics. Okay, so I have to read straight from this. Modern scientists studying fluid dynamics have found that the sky's whirling patterns match the mathematics of turbulent flow, suggesting that Van Gogh unintentionally painted a visual model of complex physics. I have since watched the TED Ed video on this, and I can leave that link down below. It's fascinating. I couldn't explain it to you, but turbulent physics is something that is very hard to understand and even explain, and the TED Ed talk talks about that as well. But somehow he captured it just by looking out the window and reimagining this scene, which is pretty crazy to me. The interesting fact number 3, it is a night scene that was painted during the day. So he didn't paint this at night, he did paint it during the day, which kind of makes sense with the turbulent flow. It's like this was in his mind. It's almost like we have this deep wisdom ingrained in our minds, and he tapped into that somehow to paint that swirling sky. Interesting fact number 4, the village was an invention. So the church steeple and the houses do not match the actual view from the asylum. So he did add those things in. Interesting fact number 5, this was not his favorite work, which is interesting because it is one of the most famous and loved paintings in the entire world in the history of art. But In letters to his brother Theo, Van Gogh expressed doubt about the Starry Night. He called it a failure compared to his other paintings. So what do we know about our own work? I mean, sometimes we're too critical on ourselves, right? Interesting fact number 6, the cypress trees are very symbolic. So cypresses are often associated with death in Mediterranean culture. And some people read into it a bit more. Art historians think that this might have alluded to Van Gogh's fascination with mortality. Interesting fact number 7, Van Gogh was not the only person who wasn't that into Starry Night. It actually was not initially a praised painting. It gained legendary status later after his death. Interesting fact number 8, it's painted with intense impasto. That refers to the thick, textured brushstrokes that are so prominent you could feel the swirls if you ran your fingers over them. So you would actually be able to feel that there because it's so thick, but obviously you can't touch the painting. But if you were to, you would feel that. Interesting fact number 9, the painting is now in New York. It is housed at the Museum of Modern Art, so MoMA in New York City. It is one of the most visited artworks in the whole world. An interesting fact number 7 is that the moon and the stars might be astronomically accurate. Some scholars suggest that his depiction matches the planet Venus and the constellations that were visible in Provence around the time he painted it. So while the town was a bit fabricated, he got the stars right. So there you have 10 interesting facts about Starry Night. I hope that you learned something new about this very famous painting. All right, so for the poetry selection, I wanted to find a poem that was inspired by Starry Night, and there are many, okay? However, I didn't know that Tupac Shakur, the famous rapper, he wrote poetry. I didn't know this. Not only did he write poetry, but he wrote a poem about Starry Night. So I'm going to read it for you now. Okay, it's called Starry Night. And Tupac writes, "A creative heart obsessed with satisfying this dormant and uncaring society. You have given them the stars at night, and you have given them bountiful bouquets of sunflowers. But for you there is only contempt. And though you pour yourself into that frame and present it so proudly, this world could not accept your masterpieces from the heart. So on that starry night you gave to us, and you took away from us the one thing we never acknowledged, your life." I was so moved by that poem. It really surprised me. It was one of my favorite of all the poems that had been inspired by Starry Night. So much to think about here. Obviously, we studied Van Gogh's life in a previous episode, which used to be called the Chic Assignment. And so we know about his turbulent life, his troubled life. He was in a mental asylum. He did suffer from mental illness. He never had success as a painter. Obviously, after his death, he became incredibly famous, and his paintings are some of the most valuable in the whole world. It's just so tragic, I think, that he never knew that that was going to happen. And I think Tupac picked up on this beautifully. He says Van Gogh had a creative heart obsessed with satisfying this dormant and uncaring society. It's like a cold world, and he was trying to please it, but he just never got it, you know? And he was never acknowledged. He even brings up the sunflowers here, which I thought was fitting since we talked about the sunflowers for the Hauser video. I also think that Tupac himself might relate to some of this. Obviously, Tupac did receive success, but he was also probably extremely misunderstood. For example, I didn't know that he wrote poetry about paintings. You know, we think we have a stereotype of someone in our mind. Oh, he's a rapper, or that's all he does. But people are complex. And just because they do one thing and are known for it doesn't mean that's all they do. And they could be incredibly deep thinkers and deep souls and talented, and they deserve recognition for that. If anything, this poem really makes me think that as a society, we need to have more open minds for what we accept as art, what we take in as art, what we applaud as art. And it's so cool because this all goes full circle. This is what and Juliet was about. You know, it was really talking about the fact that women did not have a voice back then. Not to take away from the talent of William Shakespeare, obviously, one of the world's most talented writers. But what if women were given a chance as well to have that platform, to express their own opinions on the endings of the play, on how they wanted the play to go? And it just makes me think so much. I also think of Edith Holden, for example. She had no idea, I really truly believe this, that her diaries would inspire generations of people so long after she died. So if there's anything to take away from this episode, it is that you matter. Your voice matters. You might not be on a big platform. The world might not acknowledge it, but your art, your thinking, your philosophy, it does matter. And I hope that you are able to express that. And I hope that the Seek Out the Art series brings that to you in a meaningful way. All right, everyone. I'd like to thank the Chic Society. That is channel memberships here on YouTube. I do one vodcast for the Chic Society every Friday. We also go live once a month on a Zoom call where we get to talk to each other. We also have an optional pen pal program where daily connoisseurs are writing to each other all around the world. It's a wonderful program and is only $1.99 a month if you would like to support the channel through a very affordable membership. You get all of that. There are also upper tiers as well, and you are seeing them listed here in this video. And now I'm going to share the Elegant Connoisseurs with you. The 90-day memoir class with Alan Watt and the LA Writers Lab, beginning September 15th. Jenny Williams from Carrot Top Paper Shop. The Elegant Eating Handbook, Timeless Strategies for Lasting Weight Loss and a Peaceful Relationship with Food by Elaine Brisebois. Guy Blaise, author of Love Like the French, A Guide to Better Romance and Relationships. Carrie Van Hooser, author of 'Tis the Season for Poetry. And thank you to the following: Catherine Ray, Anne-Marie Ramsey, Ashley Craig Diaz, Heather Barrera, Gina K. Henry, Kelly Ruel, Linda Eckloff, Maria Condor, Royal Living by Jen Marie DeGile, and Tina Hugal. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode, and in the meantime, keep calm and remain classy. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.